Hey everyone, welcome back. So you've probably seen volcanoes in movies, right? Big mountains, lava flowing down the side, very dramatic. But what if I told you there's a type of volcano so massive that it doesn't even look like a mountain? One that could change life on Earth as we know it? Today we're diving deep into the world of supervolcanoes. What are they? Where are they hiding? And what's the real deal on the when question? Let's get into it. First off, let's clear up what a supervolcano actually is. Your typical volcano like Mount Fuji or Mount St. Helens is what we call a stratovolcano. They build up over time into that classic cone shape. A supervolcano is a totally different beast. It's essentially a massive underground chamber or caldera filled with an incredible amount of magma. Think of it less like a pimple on the Earth's surface and more like a huge hidden abscess just waiting to pop. The official term for a supervolcano eruption is a VEI-8 event. VEI stands for Volcanic Explosivity Index, which is a scale from 0 to 8, kind of like the Richter scale for earthquakes. A VEI-8 eruption is the biggest one possible. We're talking about an event that ejects over 1,000 cubic kilometers of material. To put that into perspective, the 1980 eruption of Mount St. Helens was a VEI-5, and it ejected about 1 cubic kilometer of ash. So a super-eruption is literally 1,000 times bigger. It's the kind of eruption that doesn't just build a mountain, it blows a giant hole in the ground. So where are these ticking time bombs? Well, they're scattered around the globe, but some are more famous than others. The most well-known is right here in the United States, the Yellowstone caldera. Yep, that beautiful national park with its geysers and hot springs sits on top of a colossal magma chamber. It's about 70 kilometers long and 45 kilometers wide. That's bigger than most major cities. Yellowstone has had 3 major super-eruptions in its history. One about 2.1 million years ago, another 1.3 million years ago, and the most recent one about 640,000 years ago. You can see the pattern, right? They seem to happen roughly every 600,000 to 800,000 years. And since the last one was 640,000 years ago, well, you can see why it gets a lot of media attention. But Yellowstone isn't alone. There's the Long Valley caldera in California, which last erupted about 760,000 years ago. Across the Pacific, there's Lake Toba in Indonesia. Toba had one of the most recent and devastating super-eruptions, about 74,000 years ago. This event was so massive it's believed to have caused a volcanic winter, plunging the planet into a cold spell that lasted for years and may have created a bottleneck in human evolution. Other major sites include the Taupo volcanic zone in New Zealand and the Campi Flegrei near Naples, Italy. That last one is particularly interesting because millions of people live right on top of it. Okay, let's get to the big question. When will the next one happen? Every time Yellowstone has a little earthquake swarm, headlines pop up saying it's about to blow. So, should you be building a bunker? The short answer from scientists is, probably not. Here's the thing. While the average time between Yellowstone's eruptions is about 725,000 years, that's just an average. It's not a strict timetable. Nature doesn't run on a schedule. Think of it like this. If you get a flat tire on average once every 5 years, it doesn't mean you're due for one on the 5-year anniversary of your last one. It could happen tomorrow, or it could not happen for another 10 years. More importantly, scientists are watching these calderas like hawks. The Yellowstone Volcano Observatory, for example, uses a massive network of GPS stations, seismometers, and gas sensors to monitor every little hiccup. A super-eruption doesn't just happen out of the blue. There would be clear warning signs likely for years if not decades beforehand. We'd see massive ground uplift as the magma chamber swells, intense earthquake swarms, and significant changes in the gases being released from vents and geysers. Right now, scientists say Yellowstone is behaving normally for the active system that it is. The current activity is well within historical norms. So if one did erupt, what would actually happen? Let's be clear, it would be a global event. The immediate area, say within a few hundred kilometers, would be completely obliterated by pyroclastic flows. These are superheated clouds of ash, rock, and gas moving at hurricane speeds. Further out, A thick layer of volcanic ash would blanket huge portions of the continent. Imagine several feet of heavy abrasive ash falling over entire states. It would collapse buildings, contaminate water supplies, ruin farmland for decades, and grind transportation and power grids to a halt. But the biggest impact would be global. All that ash and sulfur dioxide blasted into the stratosphere would block sunlight, triggering a volcanic winter. Global temperatures could drop by several degrees for years, maybe even a decade. This would lead to widespread crop failures and food shortages on a scale we've never seen. It wouldn't be an extinction-level event like the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs, but it would fundamentally challenge our modern civilization. It would be a true test of humanity's ability to cooperate and survive a long-term crisis. But again, let's bring it back to reality. This is a very low-probability, high-consequence event. Geologists are far more concerned about smaller, more frequent volcanic eruptions or major earthquakes, which are much more likely to happen in our lifetimes. The science behind supervolcanoes isn't about fear-mongering. It's about understanding our planet. It is about appreciating the immense power that operates beneath our feet and respecting the forces that have shaped our world over millions of years. Studying these giants helps us understand everything from plate tectonics to climate change. And the technology we develop to monitor them makes us safer from all sorts of geological hazards. So, while a super-eruption is a terrifying concept, the reality is that we are more prepared than ever to see it coming. Scientists are on the job 24/7, and for now, all the giants are sleeping soundly. So next time you see a headline about Yellowstone being overdue, take a deep breath. Remember the science. These are incredible, powerful, and fascinating parts of our planet's system, but they aren't something to lose sleep over tonight. Thanks for sticking with me through that. I hope this cleared things up and gave you a better understanding of these geological titans. If you found this interesting, do me a favor and hit that like button, and subscribe for more deep dives into our amazing world. Let me know in the comments what other massive science topics you want to explore. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.